What's up, guys? Darren here. Today, I'm going to take you through one of my lead magnet automations, which has been kind of bugging me for a while, trying to generate leads for myself and some clients. And one of the best and easiest ways you could generate more leads, higher quality leads as well, is by giving these prospects something of value up front before they give you their email, their phone number, and all their other various information that you want to get from them. So I was thinking, like, what could I do? How can I automate this? And how can I stop spending a whole day, sometimes a whole day, generating a lead magnet for these clients? And I decided, actually, now we've got a lot of automations and AI which could come in and essentially replace that. Let's build something which could essentially do that very quick and cheap. So I'm going to take you through the automation which I've built out, and you can use it if you're maybe a business owner, or if you're in marketing and even a copywriter, and you just want to get things moving quickly for blogs, or an agency owner and you want to maybe help your clients with the lead generation, and by doing so, giving just some more value up front by building them lead magnets very cheap and quickly. So let me take you through the whole system that has been built out. So the overview is here. What we're doing, zoom in a little bit. So what I'm doing is documenting the process that I'm going to do for generating this lead magnet, things like creation of it, where to store it, and then how to deploy them at the end. Now, the main goal is to generate high quality leads. And by doing so, we're going to make high quality lead magnets for then advertising to those prospects. And if you can generate a really good lead magnet to your prospect, it's going to increase your chances of then getting their contact details to then make you some more business in the future. And quite kind of bluntly put, the better the lead magnet will equal the better the lead quality and the trust that they'll have within you. Think of it, if you give someone so much value up front, or if you're going to a bar, maybe going to the pub with some of your pals, and you buy the first 5 rounds, it's going to get to the point where they feel like maybe they should buy you, something back in return. So keep that in mind. That's the same principle that we're trying to use with this as well. Now, the way of which we'll be breaking this down is split into 4 primary steps. The steps that we'll be using. Step 1 will be taking in the lead magnet details into Airtable. Whether you use Airtable or whether you use things like Google Sheets or Excel, it makes no difference, to be completely honest. The Airtable is going to act for me as a central kind of database or centralized hub where the user can then input the parameters for each lead magnet. It'll be things like the title, the preference of, or the profile for the audience, things like the demographics, the industry and persona details. The writing style, so is it going to be conversational, is it formal, is it authoritative? Given that, the writing age, so taking in what age it's going to be written for. You want to try and keep it below the age of 10, so writing age kind of less than 10, like 10-year-old. And I've typically found that anything you go above 10, 11 is when it gets pretty complicated with the word choice. And you want to try and resonate with as many people as you possibly can with these. So yeah, my advice would be keep it below probably age 10, 11. You can also put in a word count. So if you want to put in a report of 4,000 words, you could do that. And then the whole purpose of the lead magnet or blog post, is it educational? Is it intent driven? Is it for awareness? You can also specify that as a parameter within the input. Then once we've generated the data, we then want to automate that and push that into ChatGPT and then generate the content from within there. And this is where we get into the second step, which is then going to be generating that lead magnet and kind of prompt engineering that through ChatGPT. So we're going to use mid.com to automate this, where it's going to send all the details from the Airtable. So all the data you've collected, push that into ChatGPT, structure a nice prompt, and then generate the fully written lead magnet as an output. We want to kind of clearly format that with an introduction, maybe like a body within the lead magnet. You want to make sure that it's engaging and making sure that the lead magnet is of high quality. It doesn't also look robotic and AI generated, which I know a lot of content does these days. And then things like industry insights or data backed arguments, if you want to include them as well, are always quite a cool feature. And I think with AI these days getting better and better, it's getting a lot easier to then generate and kind of formalize these into reports using AI. You could give it a prompt within a minute, and within that minute, it's going to give you back this really cool, kind of pretty well polished report, which maybe typically 2 years ago would have taken someone a whole day to write. So yeah, it's getting really good, and I'm 80 to 90% happy with the finalized output of these. There's always a tiny bit of room for improvement, I think, like anything, but it's such a great way it's such a great place to start from. Step 3 is I'm going to be storing the lead magnet. So I'm going to be storing that within a Google Drive. So generating that, we're going to save it as, or name it, and then saving that into a Google Doc, into a folder. And then the final thing is in deploying the lead magnet. And then you can deploy that into your various kind of marketing channels. Maybe it'd be like an ad campaign in Facebook. Might be like cold email outreach and you want to distribute that. Or just maybe on your website as a blog post. You can also do that as well. Then for the tech stack, these are the main tools that you'll require for a system of this nature. For me, I use Airtable. Airtable just is a centralized data input and output process, or the kind of system which is gelling it all together. Make.com or Zapier, whichever your preference is, but automating that full workflow. We're also going to be using ChatGPT. And the whole purpose of ChatGPT is to generate the content and giving you that lead magnet from the AI model. Google Drive, where you can then store the output of the document. And then other things which are optional at this point would be things like Facebook ads to then run the paid ads, and then storing all the leads that you receive from the lead magnet into your CRM. All right. Now to dive into it. So this is the main hub that we'll be using to then generate these lead magnets. And you'll see here for all the various columns that I have, things like the ID of the role, which it will become useful in the future. The blog status, which we'll need as, and you'll see the drop-downs are placed within here, are things like to do, in progress, done, or published. We've got the client that we're going to be building these for. So if you work with, maybe if you're an agency, what you can do is you could specify which account you're working through, and you can see from the brand properties, and again, I'll take you through these in more detail in the next couple of minutes. But things like the brand tone of voice, words, writing age, which you can pull through. The title of the blog. So this is an input that really the only inputs that you need to give to the system to work is going to be a blog title or the blog idea. These can really just be the same thing as well. So giving it a bit of an idea of what you want to generate the blog for. We are then going to be, once we've given these all as an input, the output will then be the blog outline. So once we've fed this all through the system, it's going to give us an outline of the blog. Once it's then got the outline, it's then going to work for each outline kind of one by one to say, right, this is the introduction. It's then going to work for the introduction and generate that. Next stage is going to go on to maybe section 1, work for that. Section 2, work for that. All the way through to the end, we're then going to take it all together and gel it all very nicely into the main blog or the main lead magnet at the end. And we're also going to be updating the status. So as I've gone through as a verification, like a content right verification at the end to understand, is it good? Is it in progress right now? And then once I've made the tweaks into there, I then update that to then verified, which then signals to me that I've checked it I can then publish that. I can then use that to then maybe advertise it. Okay. Now, one of the main things as well as an input that we need to give is the client. And what I've done is I've built in another table within here, and we're taking through what the name of the company is, the brand's tone of voice. So for this case here, it's saying more professional yet relatable. It should feel like you're speaking to one of your good friends and you want to offer advice and make it easy for them to understand. So just quite a nice tone of voice to place into there. Now, one of the things which AI loves to do is put in some crazy, stupid words like synergy or unlock or complexities. So I think it's always nice to put these in as well, just the words to exclude within the input. You can also give it a writing age. So I've put 9-year-old here. You can also give it through things like your content pillars. So is it for tips? Is it for educational? Is it a lifestyle-based content? And any other bits you want to place within here as well, you can. Now, let me show you this working in, so this one here, back to the loop magnet. And what I want to do, let's just keep it under the same, let's do the property network. I'm going to take the same as this. So the top 5 ROI areas to invest or to buy within the UAE for Feb. So this is quite a targeted blog. So the top 5 ROI areas to buy within UAE for February 2025. And we actually make to buy within real estate, just in case, you know. And I'm going to just copy the same here, copy that, and just place that into here as well. Now, as soon as I click on this generate blog thing or lead magnet thing, I'm going to push this into my automation, and I'll take you through that once I've given you the, so click on here, it's going to call the webhook, push all those input details that I've now fed into the Airtable, and you'll see these two will begin to update, which you can now see one has happened. It's giving me the outline of the blog. So blog is giving me the title, introduction, brief overview of the real estate market in UAE, importance of return of the investment, and it's giving me a nice kind of structured outline. So the areas, things like the Marina, JVC, Abu Dhabi's Al Reem Island, downtown Dubai, and DIP, Dubai Investment Parks. And you can see now I've got the main of the lead magnet done. So it was extremely quick, literally within 10 seconds of me clicking on that button, it's given me this article now. And you'll see here, it's always fairly high quality as well. So the top 5 ROI areas to buy within real estate in UAE. It's a bit of a one title, but you get the idea for the video here. Dubai Marina, a high demand waterfront investment, and it's going to give you, you'll see here as well, it's really cool. It's giving me things like according to the Dubai Land Department, average rental returns for the area hovered between 6 to 7% in 2024. Great stat. You know, if I'm looking for buyers or sellers within Dubai for maybe like a real estate client of mine, things like this is great. You know, it's giving them some really good advice just purely from this document. Next one's downtown Dubai. Again, it's giving me some stats. And yeah, you get the idea. It's giving you quite a cool lead magnet purely from 10 seconds. Now, what I could also do is take this, then if I wanted to maybe just write a few more bits in here, maybe blah blah blah, whatever you want to continue writing within there, you can also do that while updating this to say I'm now updating that within progress. And you might have a content writer who you want to pass this over to and let them maybe take it forward and then just beef it out, maybe add in the extra 10 or 20% to get that ready for then advertising. So main system here, all I needed to do really is just give it a title, push on a button, and get this really cool lead magnet on the back of it. So your next thing is going to be, how the heck did you do that? Let me show you. So this is all I had built out within make.com. It is quite a lengthy automation, but I'll take you through step by step so you can understand how it functions. So the first step is you want to make a custom webhook within Make. Just add in a module for a webhook, create a webhook, and then take the webhook that you have here and place that into the button that you've got within here. So when you're in your Airtable, you'll see what I do is I pass that through, and I'm concatenating the record ID. So when it does get triggered, it's going to trigger through the webhook and the record ID, which is going to be this one here, and combining that all together for then when I want to extract that within the automation. Once the webhook is then triggered, I will then get the record. So the record's coming through from the space, from the blog posts or lead magnets, they're taken through the record ID. At this point, I'm now setting through the variables within the automation of the writing age. So in this case, the writing age was, I think, 10 or 11 years old. So it's coming through from here. The brand's tone of voice, which again, I'm taking through from the clients table. The words to exclude, primary keywords, secondary keywords, and the title. So I'm just pushing these all through into the automation, and it then allows me to use these for when I'm going through and I'm passing these all through to the likes of ChatGPT. I'm then updating the records. So all I'm doing here is changing that from maybe to do to in progress. So I can then see that it's beginning to run, and it's quite clear that it has pulled through the webhook and it's now beginning to advance. Now this is when we push all the inputs that we've taken through within the Airtable into ChatGPT. Now, so what we're doing within here, first of all, we're selecting a system role. And we're basically telling it what it's got to do. So you're an expert in writing blog posts or lead magnets, whatever your terminology is going to be. You know how to make great engaging content with a good variety of sentences, engaging for the reader. And I'm then passing through the brand's tone of voice, the writing age, and then excluding those words. I could beef these out and maybe push through things like how many words it's got to be. I could push through anything else you want to give it, but this is where you pass that through into the structure. And then for the second message will be a user message. We'll be using the following JSON to then write a comprehensive outline for the blog ID. And then the third message is then going to be to then prepare the article using the outline as follows. That's the title, taking it through from the title from here. The blog idea, which is then going to be taken through from this one. And then things like the keywords, the primary keywords, secondary keywords. The fourth message I put in, I do not want any final notes on resources. The conclusion should only be 2 sentences. Yeah. So before, what I was doing, it was giving me like citing different areas, and it was giving me like the links. So I also put this in as well. I don't want any final notes or resources. Just give me, the sentences, make it quite clear, and make sure it's just a nice structured plan. Once I've got that, I'm then going to update the Airtable with the blog post, or the outline. So then taking back in the record ID that we had pulled through from the start, update the message content within the blog outline. So we just click in here, click onto choices, into message, and then into content. And that's going to be the blog idea of the content, which is this one here, blog outline. This bit here. Now, the next section, what we're going to do is then we've done that. We're then setting a variable as an input brief. Now, the input brief is simply taking in all the content that we've just received or we've just got back from ChatGPT. So this essentially taking in the structure. And then this section here is when we're going to iterate through each different kind of area within that. So section 1 might be, or let's take it from the start. You'll have, at the beginning, you will have, section 1, you'll have the introduction. Section 2, you'll then maybe have like the first area to invest. The next section, you'll have maybe second area to invest. And what we'll be doing is we'll be looping through every single section to then kind of get that to work and to generate from ChatGPT. And the reason we do that is going to give us a higher quality article, which we can then take. So if we do it all together, it might get a little bit kind of, I've tried it before and it's still good, but it could be better. And by splitting them all out, it's giving you a better and more accurate kind of answer from the AI model. So let's go back into here. So we've set that as the input brief. We're then going to iterate through, and you'll see what we're doing is we're splitting these out. So split input brief, and then every input brief is going to be on a new line. And we'll be filtering that based on, this was when I was doing this in the markdown format. So to be honest, it's not as relevant, but if you were doing this in markdown format, it's then going to look for every time you've got a new section, which would be dictated by these two hash, so hash, which is equal to a new section, and each new section will then be fleshed out. I actually made a change to this and no longer use markdown, so yeah, probably not that relevant, but, and then within here, if you want to also do this as well, it's going to take this as a section input, one cycle, and then it's going to replace. So every time you're going through each new section, it's going to add an arrow to say like introduction section here. It's going to have the arrow. So maybe like area 1, Dubai Marina, it's going to have the arrow there. And then as it cycles through, it's going to be doing that. And this is where we generate the blog. Again, you can take these, just feel free to pause the video, but passing this through as a user role. And we're basically just saying like, you're an intelligent, helpful writing assistant. Basically just write me a nice blog is kind of the long story short from that. And this one here is when we're passing through the content of what we want it to be based upon. So because we've got the structure, we're given through the structure and we're basically asking it to take this, use a nice brand tone of voice, never use these words, make the section between, you know, this and that, and then finalize it using the section input. We're then going to set the bit that we've just received from here as a section text. So just that, let's just take it as the introduction. Introduction will be passed as a variable as a set text. We're then going to check through within here. So we've got kind of a router taking place. And what we're doing within here is we're saying every fourth or every 25%, we're going to be passing this through to basically say, actually, why do we do that again? We're basically giving it through as a section text. So every fourth kind of section, we're going to pass through into here, and it's then going to kind of rewrite that to then make it a bit more human. The whole purpose of this before, I think this was maybe 6 months ago when this thing was built, but what they're basically trying to do is every fourth section, we're going to pass it through this section here, and it's then going to kind of rewrite it and try and make it seem a bit more human instead of it all just being clumped together. It's actually not fully relevant anymore. I think the way that AI is advanced since, it no longer needs to kind of go through the section text, but you're welcome to try it. I'll leave kind of the whole conditions on screen if you want to have a look into that. And then we're setting the variable at the end as section text. And then the kind of finalized bit here, what we're doing is we're taking in that section text, we're aggregating them all together and kind of separating them with a new row. And then I'm feeding that all back into a brand new completion at the end. So I'd always found when I was doing this before in the past, I was getting this kind of like fragmented output from ChatGPT. So it might be like the same thing repeated 4 times over, and it just never really flowed properly. So what I do at the end is taking that in, and I'm basically just saying like, please look at the blog post written. Your job is to QA and clean the blog for any duplicates, formatting issues, giving it that, and then giving it in the text as well. and it's giving me this perfect blog by the end. So, and then updating the record. And all we're doing now is updating that, pushing through, changing the status to done. The main blog content's going to then be everything that we've generated from it in here, and that'll be that. So I think there's going to be one or two small tweaks I make within here. I probably would remove this bit, but again, you're welcome to take that and kind of play around with it, do what you wish. And yeah, that's the main system. I'll show you it one more time just so you've got that. Or if you're just skipping to the end of the video and want to see how the thing functions, we can. So let me give it a completely random, let's just say this one here is to do. I will give the input as same one as before, and this one here will say why is Dubai the best place to live in 2025, and where should you rent? Question mark. To that, let's chuck that into there as well. Again, all I need to do is click on generate. In fact, I'll give it a funny input as well. Let's just, in fact, I won't. I'll just keep it simple. Click on generate blog. It's going to pull that. It's going to tell me it's been accepted in the webhook. And all we do is simply wait. All we need to do is wait here. It's going to give us the outline. There we go. Outline is done. Why Dubai is the best place to live in 2025 and where should you rent? Brief introduction to Dubai. Overview of the city. Thriving economy, quality of life, diverse culture, modern infrastructure. And it's then going to tell us where to live, marina, maybe downtown Jumeirah Business Bay. And that's it done. It's given me the blog post, taking in all of the inputs I wanted to give it from who the client is. Again, if you wanted to write a much longer one, you could do that. If you wanted to write a much shorter one, we give it some randomized words to play around with, or some resting ages to play around with. You can do that all within here. And yeah, push a couple buttons and it's done. That's you. So I hope that's been of some value to you. Write below in the comments what you want to see next. And I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.